Welcome to MyACT, and this is a beautiful sunny day in Cannes, and so the good thing would be remember to wear sunscreen. I'm Thomas, and this is Isa, and we've got a wonderful panel today, don't we?
We have a beautiful panel today, lots of topics. We have Patty Clarke, who is Chief Talent Officer at Havas Group. Thank you, Patty, for being here. We have James Hunt, who's Senior Vice President at CNN International. Thank you, James, for joining. We have Cathy, Heeley, who is a wonderful person that don't have the whole title. From Nielsen, thank you, Cathy. We have Fabrice Plazolles from Havas Play, who is the CCO of Havas Play. So thank you for all being here with us. We just want to thank also the partners of MyACT, which are Havas, Media Transport, and also the support of the IAA Global, Accor Group, and I'm missing one. I'm sorry.
It's still second day in Cannes. We'll remember tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Patty, I'm going to start with you because I know you are a busy woman, so you have to run. Cathy, at Havas, you really pushed the programs for talent. I want you to tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So thank you for having me today. Havas is really proud to be associated with Act Responsible. At Havas, we have our social CSR and social responsibility is done through Havas Impact, which is about responsible communications, the environment, and then people. And I pretty much own that people piece of it. And some of the things that we have under that we're very proud of and that are making a difference are our Global All-In, which is our diversity, equity, inclusion program that's run around the world. So every agency around the world has 2 or 3 initiatives that they're focused on. We track it. We share initiatives across different size agencies, bigger villages helping smaller agencies. We also have our Fem Forward program, which is all about advancing women. We've been running that since 2018. We saw a need for that kind of senior manager, director level woman to be able to build their confidence so they could advance at the same rate or at least as the men in the organization. And we've had great success with women that have gone through the program prior to COVID in person. And we've seen them get promoted post leaving the program. They create their own advancement plan. They have a self-assessment done, and they have the opportunity to network with a lot of other senior leaders in the business. During COVID, we took that program virtual, and we called it Fem Forward on Air, and did it in 4 regions around the country virtually with much success. And most recently, we launched Fem Forward Academy, which is for women who are only 1 to 3 years in the business. And with that, we're going to try and kind of bend the curve on things like imposter syndrome and the confidence issues and try to get to the women early and build up some of those skill sets in a stronger way. We also have another version of Fem Forward, which is Fem Forward Frida, which is just for creative women, which is focused on advancing more women into senior creative roles. We have 42% of our creative organization is women, but we really want to see more of them advancing into that executive director and chief creative officer roles. So 4 are here today for their creative directors. They're at Cannes for their first experience. We actually started them in the program before COVID and have kept that commitment that they would come have the experience in Cannes, and they're matched up with a male CCO so that the CCO can learn a bit about what it's like to be a woman creative, a young woman creative coming up in the business. There's 2 other pieces that we're very focused on right now. One is mental health and wellness. We launched a program during COVID called Be Kind to Your Mind, and we have a number of different initiatives that fall under that. But with some partner organizations, we've offered kind of skill and advice sessions that deal with very specific topics, things like shutting off at the end of the day, which has become a problem with people being remote and not being able to find kind of the beginning and the end of the day. And we've had over 1,000 employees participating in those sessions, which are really help sessions and guidance sessions. And that program we continue to extend, and we'll do more with that over the course of time. And then last week we launched the new era of management for all our people leaders, because in the past 2 years, the world has changed dramatically. And if you're a people leader and you haven't realized that now you have a hybrid workforce, at Havas we have global hybrid, and that your role changes significantly as a result of that. So how do you really take care of your teams and take care of your people to make sure they're having the best experience? And that has a number of different components to it, everything from how are you having career conversations, because we all know there's a lot going on in the talent space with the Great Resignation. We also are focused on how do you run your team when people are all in different days, so giving leaders really the toolkit to be able to manage that. Also, really the well-being piece coming into play there as well, and helping leaders be able to ask the right questions. How do you communicate with your teams now that you're not going to see them every day? How do you lead them? How do you build trust? How do you build empowerment? So it's really about helping our leaders do the best they can do with how the world has changed, because the old playbook doesn't work anymore. It's actually changed pretty dramatically.
Well, that's amazing, Patty. I think being able also to share those programs with the whole of the industry to inspire and to help others. I know that other big groups also have great programs. I think sharing it as much as we can is really important, and collaborating on it. So we can see maybe those programs on the Havas website, and
many of them are on the website, and especially when it comes to DEI and the advancement of women, I think it's all about collaboration, not competition. That we all have to work together in the industry to make it better for those constituencies and share. I'm a big sharer. I'm happy, if somebody wants to learn about the program and implement it internally, that's the right thing to do for those areas of focus for people.
Well, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
It really also does showcase the complexity of, I think, sustainability and some of the Pretoria initiatives you actually need to put in place to tackle some of these things. And I'm so excited to move from sort of agency side to media side, James, and sort of listen to some of your experience from a CNN perspective, because I know that you've seen a shift towards sustainability both from an editorial side but also a customer side. But maybe you could explain a little bit more about some of those initiatives.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I think for us, sort of broader context, really, when we think about sustainability, is really in three different ways. The first is that, frankly, it's what our audience is demanding. So 80% of our audience globally, which, as you can imagine, is quite a sizable audience, expect brands to be in this space and, frankly, doing probably more than they are at the moment. And we also see that from some of the data that we collect when it comes to purchase intent for customers and consumers now. I think increasingly, and I defer to my friend in terms of some of the specifics around what we're seeing there, but certainly from our audience, what we're seeing is that when it comes to purchase intent, when it comes to brand loyalty, they're now considering what brands are doing in this space, much more, I think, than they ever have been before, and I think that's a great trend for us to continue in the industry. So I think we start with that, and then the clients, obviously, that come to us, they're looking to access that audience. They're looking to understand and connect with those audiences that we have and tap into that, I suppose, that passion that our audiences have about this topic. And we see that more and more with the client briefs that are coming through the door and the content that we make. I run our international brand studio team, and so we're a dedicated unit inside the channel that specifically works with brands on their own messaging that complements, obviously, what we're doing on the editorial side. So a word there, obviously, we're making more sustainable content than ever before, like a lot of global publishers. Again, this is an area that our audiences want to hear from us about. They take it very seriously. So coverage around the climate crisis, coverage around what the world is doing when it comes to dealing with this huge issue that we all have is obviously important editorially. But on the brand side, those clients come to us because they're looking to connect with those audiences. And then finally, I think, and again, having just come from a very interesting panel actually that we were doing with the IAA around what the work that we're doing in Africa and what some of our clients are doing over there, I think the way that you then make that content is also increasingly important. So we're part of a number of different organizations around the world that are taking the production of content very seriously. And our clients are now expecting us to do things in certain ways so that we are walking the walk as well with them. So that may be remote filming, and we're developing technology now to be able to remote direct a lot of our different shoots and productions around the world. And again, I think that more and more publishers are having to talk more openly about this, because it's all very well and good us talking to clients about what they're doing, but they're expecting us from a sustainable production standpoint to be doing the same. So that's how I think of it broadly when we sort of talk about how it affects us directly inside CNN internationally.
Great, and so interesting to hear the little 88% figure. I think it really does show how much potential there is in this space. And also, I'm really happy that you also have the focus on Africa, because I think obviously we in Cannes, it's very easy just to focus on the sort of 1 billion privileged people in this part of the world, but really seeing how you can also bring sustainability to the continent.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had not just obviously Africa, but it's been a central pillar for us. We tell some amazing stories from across the continent on a regular basis. And I think that's probably one of the things that CNN International does very well. It's, of course, we have the sister network in the US, but on an international perspective, we have our hubs in the Middle East, we have our hubs in Asia, we have very strong presence across the African continent, and clients there are very much, I think, in many ways, leading the charge when it comes to the way that they're working, the messages that they're putting out, and really putting sort of sustainability and ESG issues at the kind of heart of those conversations. So I think, as I said at the beginning, I think it's frankly what our audiences are demanding. So we're counseling clients to understand that and to be able to talk directly to those audiences with the campaigns that they're putting out and delivering with us. So.
Well, thanks, James. I think it's a good lead to our next guest, who is also working and helping clients to find their way and to understand more the subject of sustainability. So Cathy is International Lead and Media Analytics at Nielsen. Cathy, we've been working together, but I know that Nielsen is already developing a lot of program with brands. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, great, thank you. I myself was watching CNN International this morning, and the content actually was, it was a short piece on the first Black woman hot air balloon pilot. It was so interesting, but the message of sustainability and equality and inclusion was very strong within that. And that's something that we're working with our clients on an awful lot at the moment, be it around their brand and their products, or around their advertising content. I think we're bombarded. We're exposed to up to 10,000 ads or marketing messages every single day, and with the plethora and the way that content is developed these days, there's so much out there. So people are choosing to consume content in a way they haven't necessarily before, and they're searching out brands and content like James has just been talking about, and that's something we're working a lot with our clients at Nielsen.
And we've been working on a project together for a year now, and we're going to be announcing the result of that study. So we partner with you, Nielsen Act Responsible Partner, to focus on the advertising agencies and see how they are cleaning and arranging their house to face these topics. Do you want to just, without spoiling the result, tell us a little bit about this collaboration?
On pain of death at not leaking any stories before it's released later today. We've been really privileged to work with you, Isa, and the whole team at Act Responsible on a survey which really gives, it's a different lens than anything we've ever done before. As you're saying, it's corporate responsibility and the teams dedicated to corporate responsibility within agencies, and how they feel they're doing, where they can improve, and the things that they feel they're doing really well. So study results being launched later today. We will be having a collaboration and cocktails event on the Nielsen yacht as we have such things, which is very exciting, at 3 o'clock later on today. So we'd love to see people there and interact around those results and maybe share a little bit more about what we found and how we can help guide people using that data.
Yeah, and we'll have the results on the ACT Responsible website and the full report there. And thank you, Cathy.
And so speaking about agencies and the role of agencies, we have and are back at Havas, in fact, Havas Play and Fabrice Plazolles, and I'm really happy to announce that you actually got a couple of shortlists already under your belt. You're also judging this year in the Sports Lions. So the work is called Anonymous Narcotics. I think that's best translation of the French title, right? Could you tell us a little bit more about that piece of work?
Yeah, Anonymous Narcotics is a small association, and they're here to help people that are into drugs to get out from drugs. And we all know it's very complicated. It's like for alcohol. It's always a shame to go to a meeting, to go to a panel with some other people, and you want to go, you know you have to go, but it's complicated to go. And so at Havas Play, we work a lot on Metaverse, on Web3, and we are trying a lot of things to explore these new worlds. We don't have the truth about that, but we want to make some tests. And this idea is a test. And we created, in a metaverse, a small metaverse, we created the first ever meeting of Anonymous Narcotic. And we thought it was a good way to create an impulse and to start something and to say to these people, okay, let's try, but without showing your real face. The avatar is something that can be helpful to give you the confidence to go to this meeting. And so we create everything in this metaverse, and we had 10 or 15 people coming to this first reunion, to this first meeting, and the exchange is like in a real meeting, except it was with avatar. And it was like a pilot experience, and after that, we did a test and we did a panel, and we asked the people coming for the first time to this meeting, what did you think about? Was warm, and did you feel the connection with other people, the connection that helps you to get out from drugs? And they all said, yes, it was an amazing experience. And what matters is these people, they didn't want to go to physical meetings, and the majority of them in the next 3 or 4 months came to a real and a physical meeting. So we are convinced Metaverse and Web3 can be like a corridor, like an entrance, a way to do something good and a way to give an impulse and to have impact to change mind of these people.
And connect.
Yeah. And we all say, and we all heard about Metaverse, it's cold, people don't connect, it's a way to separate people, you stay at home with your VR and you don't see the other people. And we are convinced it could be that, but we are convinced it could help people. We had the same opportunity last year, and we get 3 shortlists to this year thanks to this operation in creative effectiveness. We have the same operation with Fortnite, and we did a wonderful operation called Undercover Avatar, and during the lockdown...
Pour l'enfant bleu.
Yeah, the association is a Blue Kid, l'enfant bleu in French. And we created during the lockdown, children were locked at home and they couldn't escape from their parents, and it was dangerous for them to stay at home. And at the same time, people and children played a lot to video games. So we created in Fortnite an avatar, undercover avatar, played by members of the association to help people and to help children and to listen to children. And so this avatar ran for 1 month and a half during the lockdown. And thanks to that, we get in touch with some kids in danger, and we could help some kids. So it's another way to say Metaverse gaming, these new words, can help people, can help children to get in touch with other people and to find some help. And we will discuss about that in the Havas Cafe, so please meet us on Thursday morning. I think it's at 10, and we'll speak about Metaverse for good, and it's a real
it's an important subject.
It's very important.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you because I'm going to turn to my next one, because we are actually, it's a perfect connection. We're actually also doing something with Brand Tech and Niantic, exactly on the same idea. And we had Adam from Niantic yesterday telling us that all the digital, the digital world or the metaverse or all the world that doesn't seem real is actually helping us to connect in real life. And so we have partnered with them under a very brilliant idea that Thomas had this year called Open House for Good. So you're going to have to tell us, Thomas, about Open House for Good and what we're doing with our partners and Niantic.
So not just only me, but a big group of partners. And yes, what we're trying to do is, in fact, to say, Cannes is a beautiful place. Cannes is an interesting and exciting platform for conversation. But what's so important when it comes to sustainability, that I think a lot of the cases here have shown around collaboration, is that inclusivity is probably one of the most important things. We need to bring everyone around the table. So Open House for Good was really saying, you don't need these wristbands, you don't need the passes. We really want to open up all the venues, the Palais, to host these important conversations for the people who might not be able to afford to be part of it, for the freelancers, for the production teams, for the film editors.
For the young creatives.
For the young creatives. So really trying to create an open and inclusive movement. And thanks to all of the partners, a lot of the venues will be opening up along the beach. So obviously, if you don't have a pass, if you don't have these fancy wristbands, you're still very welcome. There's lots of interesting content. And actually also, which is super exciting, for the first time, we're also going to open up the Palais.
Yeah, with
right?
with the partner, with the support of Cannes Lions.
Where you can go and see 20 years of ACT responsible exhibition. And to me, it just seems like I started this journey 12 years ago, but 20 years documenting all this work that has been done for good. From just the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen it being picked up, but really 20 years of history, and I really encourage everybody to go and see that exhibition and some of the exciting content, and join us on the 22nd, which is tomorrow, at 2 p.m. Come to the Déposé. Lots of exciting talks. Join us in making a rallying cry for why sustainability is so important and why it needs to be inclusive for everyone, right?
Yes, absolutely. And with Niantic, we will have a very rare Pokemon that you can find in the exhibition. And they're doing a contest where you have to, every delegate who plays Pokemon, there's 3 games that you download on your phone, and every 5 kilometers, Niantic is replanting a tree, and they pledge to replant so many trees.
Fabrice only got a possibility now to get the last Pokemon.
Yes.
You know, you got a unique, exciting Pokemon.
I want my Pokemon.
Yes, go and get your Pokemon. Anyway, thank you. See you guys tomorrow for MyACT in the morning. Thank you for our guests.
Thanks to our wonderful panel.
Yeah, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, and then at Open House for Good.
Tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Open House for Good.